All right, guys, welcome back to the Talking Shed podcast. We've got a lot of stuff to cover today. We're excited. We're on the road again.
Yep.
I've got Cody here. What's up, Cody?
Oh, not much. Just heading down Farm Science here this morning.
You awake over there?
A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I saw you snoozing off there before.
Yeah,
Didn't
I was.
know.
Yeah, I was dozing.
Yep.
I was dozing for sure.
So, we hit a milestone on this thing about a week ago.
Yeah, 10,000 downloads.
10,000 downloads.
Yep.
That's pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't really expecting that. I check the stats every now and then, but I got a notification, and 10,000 downloads on the Talking Shed podcast.
Mm-hmm.
That's exciting. Thanks to everyone who's listened, and I know we have not been uploading enough episodes.
No.
We have to get on this and do more. There's so much to talk about. Within our business, within farming, within equipment, some cool projects that we have. We do the YouTube videos, but it's really fun to hop on here and just have conversations and dive into them more to give people more content about what the heck it is that we're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, just with all the adversity that we go throughout the weeks and stuff like that, as far as with the different projects and different tasks that we set ourselves with, as far as what we got to get done throughout that week, there's just so much going on, not only on the shop side of it, but also on the sales side of it too.
Yep, we're always moving. Speaking of that, we are heading to the Ohio Farm Science Review today. So it's like September 18th today, I believe. It's the very first day of the farm show. For you guys out of state, maybe unfamiliar with this show, it's put on by the Ohio State University. There's a lot of live demos. It's in a way set up like Farm Progress. A lot of they're going to be harvesting corn and beans and the tillage demos and all that. Pretty good show. Now, what I do think could be a little bit of to our disadvantage this year is because it's been so dry. And I mean, I don't know if we've had much rain since August 1. But because of that, the crops have dried down very quickly. And there's guys harvesting. Don't forget, I said it's September 18th.
Yeah.
Super early. So the crowd expectation, I don't know. We'll see. A lot of years this show falls just ahead of harvest. 2 weeks. Yeah, you'll have some of them Southern Ohio guys that are on some sand. You'll have them harvesting this time of year consecutively or consistently, I should say. But it's pretty rare to have guys in Northern Ohio or Central Ohio harvesting. So we'll see how that affects the crowd. But either way, we're going to be there.
Yep.
So we're excited. We have now this year combined booth space with Salford. We used to be one or a row and a half apart, and we'd have to walk back and forth all the time. We'd get a customer in our booth that wants to see a Salford and vice versa. Now we are shoulder to shoulder.
Yep.
It'll be great. We're going to have it. Basically, it'll be all one booth, and so that'll be exciting.
Yeah.
So we're headed down. It's a more than a week-long event for us, really.
Yeah.
Dad started pulling equipment down here, I don't know, over a week ago.
I was going to say probably 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
we started pulling the first stuff down here.
Yeah, we've made, I don't know, dozens of trips down with the truck and trailer, towing equipment, hauling equipment.
Yep.
We brought a Deutsch tractor down for the farm show to use when pulling wagons of people around on the trolleys.
Yep.
So there's just a lot of work that goes into it. And so today is when all that comes to a head, and all the work that you've done, now you've laid all your cards on the table, and now it's time to talk with farmers, connect, and see what we can put together this week.
Mm-hmm.
So it's cooling off a little bit. Today it's only going to be a high of 80. So
you say only, but it's like,
I mean, that ain't bad.
It's not. I mean, yesterday was 90.
Yeah, I mean,
so
we don't live in Florida.
True.
So it was mid 50s this morning when we woke up, and so it had a nice little chill to the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get a little bit of heat this week, but not too much, and
not as bad as last week.
Yeah, still not much for rain in the forecast.
Yeah.
But so that's the Ohio Farm Science Review. That's
Mm-hmm.
what we have going on this week. We're going to have all of our sales team down here. Seth will be here down from Nova. Of course, Cody and I. We're going to have Wayne is a newer sales guy. He's been with us for, 3 weeks now.
I was going to say maybe a month.
And he's from south of the shop about an hour.
Yeah. Like Richmond area, right?
Yeah, south of the shop an hour. And just like, he's had equipment experience as well. And so this is going to be a big show for him so that he can learn the equipment, learn how things work, and he'll be absorbing a lot of information that we're talking about this week. So excited about that, excited about the farm show. It's always fun to walk around the show. I'm hoping we can get some footsteps in this morning to see what everyone else has, some new equipment-wise and stuff like that. But something I really want to cover hard in this episode is, if you guys tune in at all, you saw the triple cedar trip that went down last week. I want to kind of lay the foundation of what I know about that trip. Basically, over the years, you guys have known that we travel the country quite a bit. And how this all comes about is we've been installing cover crop seeders on various tillage tools for more than a decade. And we'll have people call from Indiana, Illinois, Wisconsin, Florida, who have seen our videos and say, hey, I want one of those seeders. How do we do it? And a lot of the times I'll pitch the idea, hey, look, we manufacture the brackets. We've done the installs. We know how to calibrate them. Why don't we just travel to your farm? You provide the tractor and the forklift and everything that we need as far as that goes. We'll come and we'll install it on your farm. And when we leave, you will be 100% confident and comfortable with the tool. And so over the past month or so, I was able to put together a trio trip of guys in Illinois and Missouri who wanted just that. And so we scrambled, not in a panic or frantic way, but we're always scrambling, and we traveled around. I had to find some Terramaxes, Great Plains Terramaxes. That's a new tool from Great Plains, apparently. And we had done some installs on some 25-footers, but we had to do a 30 and a 35 on this trip. We went out, we found them, we measured them, we made the brackets, bent the U-bolts. I mean, there's so much that goes into these trips to make sure the guys have everything they need. We get the trailer loaded, and I'm speeding the process up a little bit. This took a month's time or longer to get all of this, test the seeders, make the hydraulic hoses, prep the shop guys. And one thing that was unique about this one is I've gone on almost every trip over the last 10 years, and this one I sat out on. Just too much stuff going on at home. I knew I was going to be kind of gone a little bit this week. We got a little one coming in October. Just a lot of stuff. So I sat out. I pushed the shop guys and Cody into this. I said, you guys are going. The trio. And I'm going to have Cody kind of break down how the trip went. But from my seat in the ballpark, you know, I sold the 3-seaters. I measured
basically all 3 of the tools.
All 3 of the tools. I ordered or made all of the U-bolts. And where I'm going with this is that the nervousness that sat within me as you guys were in Illinois and Missouri, knowing that if my tape measure wasn't calibrated or if I overlooked something, I was going to cost you guys time away from your home and your family while I was sitting home with mine.
Yeah.
That's a unique nervousness that I usually don't really absorb that side of it. I'm usually on the road like, you know what? If I measure this wrong and I screw it up, I'm going to pay for it. And that's how it is. Whereas now it's like, it's a different type of responsibility knowing that I set these 3 guys out on this journey that it's on me.
Yeah.
I mean, Brent made the brackets. He helped out big time. Of course, everyone helped out.
Yeah.
But if a U-bolt was wrong or something was wrong, it was on me. And like I said, there's so much that goes into this. We spent how much time with 4 guys loading a truck and trailer, and just we'd be sitting there by the trailer and say, oh, shoot, I forgot to grab this.
Yeah.
Oh, do we have cutting wheels for the grinder? Oh, this. Do we have enough batteries?
Like, it was just a repetitive checklist of what we just like, all right, do we have this?
Yeah.
Yep. It was just very...
And, you know, we could, and back 5-6 years ago, we derived a checklist, and we had one. But the problem with that is the products that we bring and use is constantly evolving.
Yeah.
Like, the tools that we use today versus what we did then, and the way that we install them today versus what we did then is way different.
Yeah.
We use just so many different things now. We're trying to refine and use less, you know, we're always trying to figure out easier and more efficient ways to use less items and require less tools so that, you know, the checklist isn't as long. But those trips are a big deal for us. It's a huge part of our business, and going out on the road and flexing our service muscles, flexing our knowledge and our ability to go to a customer's farm, never meeting them before, and putting a product on their farm and leaving with them not only comfortable with the equipment, but comfortable with our team and our ability to service them in the future.
Yep.
It's pretty cool to be on the receiving end of that phone call of a guy who's from Missouri and says, hey, I've seen a few of your videos where you've mounted these cedars, and we get to talking and I get him familiar with the product, and I mentioned doing the install, and pretty soon you guys are on his farm.
Yeah.
That's pretty fun, and we've done it time and time again. But a few things that were unique about this particular trip, I ran the stats the other day for the email blast on Friday. You installed 3 cedars in about 37 hours. And gosh dang it, I'm going to forget it. But I'm pretty sure that there was around 18 hours of drive time.
Yeah.
So 37 total hours from the time you left the shop to when you got back. 18 hours were driving. You obviously slept. I think your average install time was around 4 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy on the road.
Yeah.
We struggle to do that in the shop. So you were there, you lived it. Dive into how that trip went.
I mean, like Adam said, this was probably one of the most efficient trips we've ever had. And all that revolves back to the prep work that we had ready to go. There were only a few hiccups that we ran into. I mean, everything that we did lined up perfectly. We were throwing U-bolts in, and we would get the cedars mounted, everything. But we'll start from the beginning. We started out in Illinois, basically straight south of Chicago, probably, I'd say maybe an hour and a half is where we first started. And we were doing a 25-foot case 330. So we had 3 brackets to bolt onto the main frame there, threw the cedar on top of there, U-bolted that down, and basically everything just fit perfectly. And that's where it was kind of where because I called Adam at
yeah, I was gonna say, back up just a nickel. How far was that stop from the shop?
4 hours.
4 hours.
Yep.
Yeah, because I was in the shop, and Cody had called. I knew what time they left, and Cody called me at 10 or 10:30.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Yep, we're done." And I knew right then. I was like, "Wow, this trip has got potential to be a home run."
Yeah.
A couple of these shop guys, the shop guys, they definitely get to go out on the road and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I try not to have them be the ones who are away from their families and stuff.
Yeah.
Usually Cody and I try to do that. I don't want to force them to be on the road all the time. So I was, in the back of my mind, I was like, man, this trip could go one of two ways. They could either really kill it and be home early, or things could go south and they could get home Saturday at noon, because
Mm-hmm.
you left on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
And so it could have went one of two ways. And instantly, when you called me at that 10:30, I was like, wow, they're at that point. You were like, what, maybe 5-6 hours from the Missouri stop?
We were 5.5 hours from the Missouri stop.
Yeah, so you think about it, day one, 10:30 a.m., you're leaving stop 1. You're going to get to stop 2 at 3 p.m.,
Mm-hmm.
4 p.m.
Yep.
And, I mean, that right there, and obviously it all hinges on that second stop.
Mm-hmm.
Because what are you going to do? Are you going to get it done that night and make a little progress in driving, wake up in back door of number 3,
Mm-hmm.
which was, number 3 was 2.5 hours from 2?
It was actually more than that.
More than that?
So it was about 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
So we drove basically 2 hours to where we slept. We stayed at an Airbnb on a little lake in Illinois. Trying to remember what the name of that place was, but it was like Key something. I can't remember what it was, but back to the second install. So yeah, we got done with the first install around 10:30, and basically the guys were tidying things up. We went through the monitor, calibrated that machine, got all that stuff done. We were out of there by 10:30. Drove. Adam packed a cooler for us to where we had basically we were able to eat lunch on the fly. So we had some meat, some granola bars, some oatmeal cream pies, all kinds of good stuff. So he definitely helped us out there as far as how efficient we were. And then so basically we drove to Missouri. We were basically right in between St. Louis and Columbia. If you don't know kind of that area, basically we were 2 hours across the Mississippi. We'll call it that.
And it was right on Interstate 70, I believe.
Yeah, it was just
straight west of St. Louis.
Yep, it was basically just north of 70, probably 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And so we got there, like Adam said, right around that 3:30 time frame. started the install on that one. That one was a little bit more tricky. We actually had scales underneath that particular seeder, so we had some fumbling around to do with that. But the biggest that was our biggest question mark as far as would that seeder fit in there the way that we wanted it to, because it was really, really tight. So this is on the 35-foot Terramax, so that thing kind of comes up to like basically a teepee almost.
Oh yeah.
And so it gets pretty tight.
She's tight.
Yeah.
I that was my, like Cody said, the tool that made me lose sleep at night, because we had never mounted on it.
Mm-hmm.
And the nearest one to our shop was in Western Illinois. And, you know, I sold it a while back, and I found some similar tools local, but I knew that 35 was just a tick different. And so finally one day I was just like, forget it. I'm driving to Western Illinois, and I'm going to measure this thing. Mm-hmm. And we're going to just get it over with, because we kept stewing over. Well, I had the customer send me measurements, and we were going to kind of make brackets based off of his measurements. And I was like, man, I don't like doing that. There's just so much that can get overlooked.
Went down that avenue a time or two. And
yeah, you always get in trouble trying to cut some of them corners. I was like, you know what? If I just take a full day, drive to Illinois, at the end of the day, we'll have this thing licked.
Mm-hmm.
I drove out there, met with the guys at Yetter, made a little bit more of a trip out of it, you know, got to visit with Shoemaker,
mm-hmm.
Caleb. He's
mm-hmm.
going to be here, ain't he, at
Yep.
Farm Science?
Yep.
And we went and measured, grabbed a bite to eat, and I was like, man, this thing is going to be tight. And, you know, scales and stuff like that are great additions to these seeders,
mm-hmm.
until you got to go install them. Those are the things, those little tidbit things are the ones that are going to hold up your install.
Yep.
You know, when you're selling it to the customer and he's like, well, can we add scales? And you're like, yeah, you know, we sure can. Scales, we've got them in stock. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the yep train starts. Yep. We can do that. And then you go to install it, and what slows you down? What is it that costs you that extra hour and maybe forces you to sleep in Missouri versus Illinois?
Yep.
Or makes you get home at 8 p.m. instead of 4:30? It's those dang scales.
It's like throwing a knuckle curve at you that you don't know which way it's going to go.
It does, but
and
they are great additions. And,
they are.
And luckily that one went great.
It did.
Overall.
I mean, and realistically, I'm sitting there talking about the scales, how that one threw kind of that knuckle curve at us, but it realistically maybe only added 20 more minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, it
in a trip that was this smooth.
Right.
It was a ripple.
Yes.
On a trip that would have been a little tougher, we wouldn't have even mentioned it.
Right.
You know, but when you're on a trip where the U-bolts fall into the slotted holes,
yep,
a little hiccup like that is going to be talked about.
Pretty. I know it seems pretty minute, but as far as that being the biggest hiccup on that yeah. caliber of a trip, that's pretty huge for
yeah.
us. So
yeah. So you called me at like 7:30
mm-hmm.
that night.
Yep.
And told me, and this is when I knew for fact that it was over.
Yep.
That we had won the trip.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was nervous about that 35-footer. I was the only one that laid eyes on that tool.
Yep.
I knew it was super tight. We had to play with some geometry on where some of these cylinders, how high they would come up in the air when we unfolded. I never
mm-hmm.
saw this tool unfolded ever. It was on the dealer lot, folded up.
Mm-hmm.
We did some guessing on how high we thought some cylinders would come. We did all the measuring, and here we are. I got our three of our top guys in Missouri on a tool that none of them had ever seen,
mm-hmm.
and I'm the only one who had ever laid tape on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nerve-wracking.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that feeling, and being here. Like Cody mentioned, I packed a cooler and stuff. I wanted to go on that trip so bad that I was like packing a cooler for myself and just trying to find a way to fit inside the cooler and not let my wife know about it. And it wasn't that my wife wouldn't let me go. It was just that on my way home from measuring that 35-foot Terramax in Western Illinois, my daughter also broke her leg.
Yep.
So there's just a lot going on, and I thought I better just sit this one out, and there will be more down the road.
Mm-hmm.
So Cody and the guys picked it up, and I wanted to be there. But when Cody called me at 7:30
Yep.
that night, the very first night of the trip, calls me at 7:30 and tells me that they're headed east, going to make it on the other side of St. Louis that night, and they're going to wake up an hour and a half from stop number 3.
Yeah.
Mind you, they're about 4 hours away from home.
Yep.
At stop number 3.
Yep.
So I'm like, oh my gosh, they could sleep in until noon and get home tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so that was fun. But what was it like from your perspective headed east at 7:30?
So it was more along the lines of, we were all expecting to be back on probably Thursday. Sometime in the middle of the day on Thursday was kind of our expectation of this trip as far as when we thought we would get home. And the three of us are just looking at each other. Me, Brent, and Elliot are just looking at each other like, man, I can't believe that we're going to be on the other side of St. Louis and back in Illinois here yet tonight. And, you know, like Adam said, on the average, as far as the installs, they were about 4 hours apiece. And if, like I said, it would have probably been a little bit sooner than that, but it went... Just the idea of how smooth that went, and just how well the three of us were able to work together and just tag team all three of those seeders was just phenomenal as far as how efficient we were.
Yep.
And it all started with all the prep work that we did.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I know you wasted a day driving out to Western Illinois,
Yep.
but that was... I mean, if you didn't do that, I mean, I guarantee you, we would have sat there for 2 days trying to figure out what the hell we were going to do as far as getting brackets on that thing.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I'm either, going out on a trip. The only way that I'm going to do it without laying eyes on the tool is if we've already done that one before.
Yep.
And we go off of notes and computer drawings.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like I said before, it's too much risk to send 3 top guys west in a truck and hope that stuff works.
Yeah.
They got kids and farms and wives and everything at home too. We can't risk that. It's got to be efficient. So now, the funny thing is about all this efficiency is from 10 years of screwing up.
Yeah.
I've been to New York on a single seater trip that should have taken a day, and it took 4.
Mm-hmm.
Because we didn't do the prep work. We didn't do what we do today. We thought the tool was one flavor or model, and it was a different one.
Yep.
And it completely hosed us.
Mm-hmm.
And I could name off half a dozen times that that's happened. And maybe I'm a slow learner because it happened 6 times or 7, but eventually you just learn that you got to go measure the tool. You got to do these things.
Yep.
And you can shortcut some stuff every now and then and get away with it. That's called luck. But that stuff runs out over time. And so today, like I said, all of this is is from years of screwing it up, so that now we can get them right. But no, I just wanted to dive into that because that, from my seat in the ballpark, going back, I could scroll through pictures from 2014, 2015, 2016, and look at the progress of our cedar trips and what they look like. I've said it time and time again. We used to work out of the bed of a truck. That was our quote unquote toolbox. We used to drill all the holes for the brackets with a drill.
Yeah.
Today we use our plasma from a computer drawing. It's just evolved, and for me, I've been a part of or been there physically tightening the bolts on almost every cedar trip, and it's so awesome and satisfying to go from what I've done, and struggled and been on the long trips, and I've been on the fast trips. I've had home runs and I've had strikeouts, but to have this much risk in my lap, sending 3 guys on the trip and it turned out the way it did, it's so satisfying, and it makes me excited to build the next 3-seater trip.
Yeah.
So,
I got back Wednesday and I'm like, all right, we got 3 more to go do, or what's the deal here?
Yeah, so, we do, but they're all in the shop.
Right. Yep.
We've got probably more than that now. But so yeah, those are the things, that really set us apart, and that, I talked to the guys from Missouri yesterday. They were out running it. They had a few questions, and they couldn't be happier with the units. I don't want to make it sound like we get in and out of there real quick and just try to hurry up and get all this stuff done. It's not that at all. There is days and weeks of prep work that goes into this, and part of Cody's job on that trip was sitting down with the customer while Brent and Elliot were kind of tidying up the tool. Cody was sitting down running through the computer how everything works. How do you calibrate? They actually calibrated these cedars when they were on the road. How do you turn it off? Your auto sections, all of it. Making sure that it comes up through his ISO screen. When our guys, or when we leave there, you can literally throw seed in the thing and go to the field. So, yeah, kudos to the team that went. That was a lot of fun. It wasn't real fun for me, sitting back, and I was just constantly thinking of what they were doing and how it went, but it went well. So, that's the cedar trip. Now, some other stuff I want to talk about. We've got a strip till field day coming up.
Yep.
We're going to be running a few different brands of strip till units, but if you've seen our videos and stuff, Cody and I traveled up to the Dawn Equipment Factory there probably a month ago.
Yep.
Got to see where they make the toolbars there in Milwaukee. That was pretty cool.
Yes, it was.
A lot of history in that building, and there's a heck of a place to eat just around the corner. But I don't know, 3, 4, 5 months ago, we ordered a 60-foot Dawn BDO, Black Dawn 1 toolbar with 24 units. And we had a few customers in mind for that thing. We knew we could get some demos this fall. We told ourselves probably 8 months ago that we were going to get heavy into strip till. We've always tiptoed around the idea, sold some here, sold some there, but we said we were going to get heavy into it. We went ahead and stocked a 60-foot bar. We felt that was a great size, and that bar found a new home last week, and we couldn't be more excited.
Yep.
We've got a lot of work to do. We're going to piece it together. It's going to be in the dirt here this fall, but that's exciting. You're going to see a lot of videos coming from us, and That is going to be what they call the Pluralite unit with the knife option.
Yep.
Cody and I have demoed that bar a few different times, or those units, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm impressed.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so that's some other big news that we've got. We've got way more going on in the shop right now than we usually do this time of year.
That's what I noticed this year that's been so different. Like, if you would have asked us a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, you know, what's our plans for over the summer? You know, what are we going to try to get done? Well, the list that was originally started compared to what the list is now is two completely different sides of the spectrum. That's for dang sure.
Yeah, we usually like to take a small period of the summer and focus in on those projects that we talk about all the time, but we never have time to do. We try to get a few of them done, but man, it's been nonstop.
Yeah, we didn't get any of them done. Well, we got one done.
Yeah.
The 12-row cornhead cedar.
Yeah. Now, part of that is due to harvest creeping up on us. You know, a lot of times we would get into early October at least before a lot of guys are harvesting. Not the case this year.
Yeah.
So that's kind of putting a little bit of a pinch on us as well. But also we've had a lot of success with cover crop cedars of all types, cornhead cedars, mounting them on tillage tools, self-propelled millers and Hagee cover crop cedars. Those have been big. So all around, we are covered up right now in the shop, and the shop guys know it.
Yep.
We've got, right now, there's a strip till bar in there, getting a cover crop cedar put on it. Elliot is going to start on putting that rate controller on a litter spreader today for a local guy. Cody's got a cedar that's getting shipped out to the Carolinas.
Yep.
Just project after project.
There's another strip till bar that's getting a cedar put on it.
Yes.
That's got to come into the shop yet.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
A lot going on.
Yeah. We sold a Salford tool yesterday that gets a cover crop cedar on it.
Yep.
That will find its new home in Illinois.
Yep.
So, a lot going on. We're going to have fun and learn a lot and meet new people this week. But then we got to get stuff moving, and we got to keep that in the back of our mind.
Yep.
So.
Yep, for sure.
A lot going on. I wanted to recap that trip, talk a little bit about the strip till field day next week. If you guys are interested, it is September 24th at 10:30 a.m. It's going to be at where we've had our last two field days, 5678 Erastus Durbin Road. That's in Salina. It's just 5 miles south and east of our shop, and we'll be running the Dawn Pluralites. We'll be running the Yetter Mavericks, the Yetter cab controls. We may have a few different bars to show off, meaning the Black Dawn 1, potentially the Fast Duraplacer bar, and some other things to show. So we'll be running in-field live demonstrations of all types of setups so that you guys can get a good feel of maybe you do want a mole knife, maybe you don't, maybe you want to, maybe your focus is on a unit that can run both spring and fall. Maybe it's on a unit that is only spring.
Yep.
Or vice versa. We're going to show you all of those looks. You will see a lot of different things that you can't see every day. We're going to have it all in one field. So that's it. That's all I've got.
Yeah.
We're almost to Farm Science. It's early. It's a great start to the morning, great start to the week, and I'm excited. All the Salford guys are here. We've got, I think, is Lee in town?
See, I'm not sure. He always usually comes to this
think
one.
Lee's here.
But I'm not sure.
Lee, Dave, Tim Gunkelman from Copperhead.
Yep.
Of course, Seth's going to be here. I haven't seen him in a while.
Yep. Caleb Shoemaker.
Caleb Shoemaker. You know we're going to talk hunting.
Oh yeah. Got to.
Yeah, so it's just an exciting time, even if the show is a little slow, you always know that you're going to be able to be around good people. So no matter how the show goes, whether there's a great crowd or a slow crowd or it's hot or it's cold, you're always going to be around good people.
Yep.
So
it'll be good camaraderie for sure.
That's what I'm most excited about, catch up. And at the end of the week, it's amazing how you spend a week with these people. All these people are very influential in our business, whether they're giving us ideas or providing us product and insight. At the end of the week, it's amazing what kind of plan we have built.
Yep.
Hey, are we going to order this? What are we going to do about Louisville? Are we going to release that new product? When are we doing this? And man, it's events like this that we are able to lay the groundwork and the foundation for the next 3 months, literally until the next field day or the next event, like Fort Wayne Farm Show or Louisville Farm Show. Those are the events that we gather and we collect intel and we lay it down.
Yep.
So Cody's staying all week, I think all week, or maybe the majority of the week. I am going to commute back and forth. I think I'm going to try and stay one night. So maybe the last night or something, so I can help kind of clean up the next day. I don't know. But Cody's staying. I'm going to scoot out of here early today. The boys have soccer tonight. And so I'm going to make it home for that. But the lodge we're staying at is another awesome part of this whole gig. Pretty cool little lodge, Deer Creek Lodge. They've got a lake. Going to eat good food, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
And hopefully Drew from SurePoint's here.
Yeah.
I'm sure he will be. But the more I talk about it, the more excited I get. So we're closing in on Farm Science Review. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. 10,000 downloads, and we look forward to 10,000 more. Thanks for tuning in.
Yep. Thanks, guys.